Hello, guest services. Can you believe how long it's been since we've been in our building? Gosh, I miss you guys. You know, when this first started, I had no idea that it was going to be this long. Several years ago, I was preparing for a large project for work, and I was under a tremendous amount of anxiety. So I texted Pastor Mike. I said, "Hey, Mike, please pray for me. I'm really struggling here." And he responded with a verse. That verse was Proverbs 28:1. The righteous are as bold as a lion. That verse stuck with me, though I didn't feel righteous at the time. I believed that I was as fearless as a lion. And to make a long story short, I got the project done and I had zero issues and everything was a success. Why? Because I knew that God was with me. He doesn't want us to live in fear or cower when we're faced with a challenge. He wants us to be bold in His name, like a lion. All right, enough about me. The purpose for the video is Chapter 6, Recover Quickly. Well, the chapter starts out talking about an incident that happened at their church. You see, their church closes the worship or auditorium doors whenever there's a baptism. They show a short video story of the person getting baptized before the baptism. They do this because many guests arrive late and they want to be seated during the baptism. If the ushers sat them at this time, light from the lobby would spill in and it causes a big distraction for the people that are trying to pay attention to the baptism. So they position greeters at the door to stop people from opening the doors. One Sunday, the doors were closed and a young mother with a 2-year-old approached the doors and tried to get into the worship center. Jane, a greeter, met the young mother there and explained why they don't allow anybody in during the baptisms. But as she explained the policy, the young mother became visibly frustrated and walked away and had a seat on the couches in the lobby. She was upset. Jane immediately went to Jason, who is the leader of the guest services team. And Jason had actually witnessed the incident. Jane began explaining what happened. She explained that they keep the doors closed to limit distractions. But apparently, her sister was the one being baptized at that exact moment. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have broke the church's rule, or would you have followed the policy and not let the lady into the worship center? Jane followed the policy of the church and she didn't let the lady in. Obviously, Jane is a rule follower and she didn't want to break any rules to let the lady in. No church is perfect, including us. We're gonna mess up and we're gonna make people upset. That's reality. But the moment we blow it, we have the option to recover quickly. We can either let it go and hope the lady doesn't get upset or stay upset, or we can do something to fix the mistake that we made. Jane immediately realized that she messed up, and she knew that she should have bent the rules for this guest. One of the greeters, his name was Roger, happened to witness this incident. Roger owns an insurance company, and he is one of the top guest services volunteer. He's great with customers. He knows how to treat a guest. An idea popped into Roger's head, so he went up to his leader, Jason, and said, "Hey, I've got an idea. I'll be right back." He returned about 15 minutes later with 4 Starbucks gift cards. He said, "Look, I know problems are gonna arise in the future, so hang on to these and use them if somebody gets upset." So then he walked over to the young mother with one of the gift cards. And as Roger spoke with her whole demeanor changed. Roger's presence changed the situation for her. He said, "Ma'am, I am so sorry for what happened a few minutes ago, and it is absolutely our fault. We messed up, and we apologize. You deserve to be in that auditorium, but we said no. I am sorry. I know this doesn't fix the situation, but I want to give you this Starbucks gift card. Maybe you can use it as a break from parenting or to meet up with your sister." So the lady, like most of us would say, is, "Oh, you don't have to do that." And Roger said, "You're right. We don't have to do that. But we want to make things right and apologize." Roger actually stayed with the young mother and kept talking to her throughout the service and interacted with her daughter. Jason, the guest services leader, watched this from a distance and he said, "All I could do was just smile." See, Roger recovered quickly and he made things right. Recovering quickly is showing the right emotions so that guests know that you care. An apology or a gift card alone is not enough to change how someone feels. But Roger's empathy changed the situation with the young mother. Even though Roger didn't cause the problem, he took ownership. Here's the thing, in the midst of serving people, things can go wrong. People can get their feelings hurt, or we can fail to meet their expectations. And it's up to us, you, me, the team, all of us, to make things right. The comeback effect is about recovering and recovering quickly. So why do we want to recover quickly? Is it so we can make people feel better? Well, yeah, but that's a byproduct. For Christ followers, recovering quickly is about demonstrating the love of God. Alrighty guys, sorry about the background change. I had to take a last-minute trip to Michigan, but I'm home now. The book teaches us 3 main truths about hospitality. 1, something will go wrong. 2, you're not perfect. Even though you're striving for it, we're not perfect. Number 3, the guest is not perfect. While those 3 truths sound negative, acknowledging them is not being pessimistic. In any ministry or business, we hope for the best, but do we prepare for the worst? If we don't prepare for the worst, what are we going to do when something goes wrong? Understanding that things can go wrong help us put plans in place so we can recover. For an example, when a parent brings a child in and we encourage them to take them downstairs so they can experience FP Kids, but instead they don't listen to us and they take their child into the worship center. 15 minutes into service, they storm out because their child is crying because the music's too loud. We could say, "Told you so," and create another problem, or we could have a plan in place to help that crying child. Knowing ahead of time will help in situations like this. FYI, we do have a plan. We arm our ushers with coloring books and crayons, and then they both can go in the family room and enjoy service where it's a little quieter. This may change with the new remodel. I'm not sure how it's going to go, so stay tuned for that one. What about when guests show up for the wrong service time? They thought service started at 10:30, but it actually started 30 minutes ago. And that could have been because we forgot to update our Facebook page or many other websites. Or they've been hanging on to a card that somebody shared with them from 2 years ago. So did we make the mistake or did the guest make the mistake? It doesn't matter. What matters is what we do when that guest arrives. We can say, "Hey man, sorry, service started 30 minutes ago. The next service starts at whatever time." Or we can say, "Hey, I'm really sorry. Come with me and grab a cup of coffee and I'll show you around." But what if we don't have another service? What if that was our last service of the day? Can we escort the guests discreetly into the worship center and find them a seat so they're not embarrassed for being late? Or just have them walk in on their own, shine a big spotlight on them and embarrass them? This goes back to when we talked about replacing negative emotions with positive emotions. Preparing to recover is acknowledging that things will happen and doing our best to make sure that we can quickly make things right. What can you do to prepare for the worst? So let's talk about how to recover. The book gives us 7 steps for recovering quickly. Number 1 is listen. Let them say what they want to say. Let them get it all out. If we don't let them get it all out, it's going to stay inside and it's going to build. Once the emotion is out, then we can deal with the situation. Number 2, review. One of the best ways to show someone that you're listening is to repeat back their concern. Voice their concern in your own words. Now this takes practice and you need to be careful because you don't want to come across as patronizing. If you do it wrong, they're going to get upset. So seek to truly understand. Number 3 is empathize. Listen first, then feel. We don't have a right to craft a response until the guest is done airing their grievance. Then empathize before you begin. Honestly, if you were in their shoes, you would probably feel the same way they do. So feel that emotion that they're going through. Number 4 is apologize. Even if you don't feel responsible, or somebody else caused the problem, or even if you feel that the guest is unjustified in their emotions, apologize. And don't try to be crafty in your response like, "I'm sorry you feel that way." This puts the blame back on the guest. People know when you're not genuine. Once an offense has happened, there's no way to undo it. No matter what Roger did, he couldn't redo the situation so she could see her sister getting baptized. But he did his best to resolve it in a different way. And it worked. We want to make this right. Number 6 is follow-up. It's important to care in the moment, but can you care after the fact? For example, have you ever called somebody? Holy smokes, this is powerful. Imagine if Roger called that lady a month or 2 later to apologize again and maybe send her a card. Wow, can you imagine the positive feeling that she's gonna have? But we don't want to do it in a self-serving manner like a car salesman. Be genuine. Number 7 is discuss. Turn it into a learning experience. Whether you're using it for the church, your business, or retail, write down what happened and then use it to refine your process. Did you do a great job and everything was perfect? Great! Then use this and teach it to other people so they can do the same. Or was it less than perfect? If so, that's okay. These things take practice. But figure out how you can do better next time and then train your team to do the same. All right, in closing, I want to leave you with a few questions. When we go back, what can we do? What can I do? What can you do to up our game? How can each of us take ownership to make our campus a better place? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we have a bad campus. In fact, I think we're one of the best out there. Shout out to North Knox. But instead of waiting and hoping for something to change, take ownership. Pray for guidance. Seek ideas from other people. A couple of weeks ago, the sermon talked about what your neighbor thinks of your house. And this hit me like a ton of bricks. Not what your house looks like, but what it feels like. Have you ever thought about asking somebody, what kind of personality do I have? Are you loving, joyful, hateful, arrogant, annoyed? Your answer may be different from what others think about you. You may think that you show the love of Christ, but others may think differently. Now, please know I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I truly believe we have a great team, but let's ask the people around us. Our eyes may be open to something new. Chapter 6 of The Comeback Effect goes into much more detail, more than what I'm covering here today. So I encourage you to read it. Read the whole book. I truly thank you for making it this far in the video. I know this video is a bit longer, but there's a lot of information to cover. And there's a lot more in the book. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. I love you guys.